Good evening, guys, from the UK. I wanted to come on because I have been online quite a little bit today, more than usual because it was raining here, so I didn't get out for as long, and I was really responding to a lot of people. I've left a lot of the spiritual groups because they didn't feel very aligned to where I'm at the moment, but there are a number of groups that I'm in both on Facebook and Telegram, and there appears to be a lot of people who are asking the questions of somebody who is very much allowing themselves to be in the third dimension. And at the moment, the third dimension is kind of quite a scary place to be if you are operating from that density. And I think it's really important to remember, because you are remembering, because you have lived, most of you, and especially most of you who listen to me, have been in here at this place on Earth, and from other star systems and other planets many times before. You are light beings, you are remembering who you really are. And if you think that getting in, 12 months worth of food and running into the forest is going to save you, you really have got this slightly wrong. Because, and we can use the word right and wrong in the third dimension, because everything is polarity, everything is duality. And this war that we're in is not about making sure that you've got enough stuff outside of you. It's actually about raising your consciousness, raising your frequency, and it's an internal job. So that what you really need to be doing, and it has come up in a number of groups that I'm part of locally as well, where we meet in person, I really want to stress, I can't stress enough, that it's no good just doing all the practical stuff and thinking that you're going to arrive in 5D with an energy, with a consciousness that is desperate, that is frightened, that is fearful, that is lacking. Because actually that is not what is going to win the war, this spiritual war that we're in. This is a war between good and evil, between light and dark, between masculine and feminine. This is the war that's happening right now. And for most of us whose families and friends think we're crazy because they haven't woken up yet, and simple words to use, they haven't woken up yet, the more we attack them and the more we question them and the more we make fun of them and they make fun of us, the more we keep continually sort of perpetuating this divide, the longer this shadow that's playing out is going to last. Now, I've been in town today and, I think of myself as pretty awake. I've done a lot of work. I'm very conscious. I'm able to step out of my conditioning. But I still notice myself when I'm in the town and I just wanted to go and people watch and have a coffee with the dog and just sit by the clock tower, because I love doing those things and I don't want to stop doing those things that I enjoy. But I did notice myself getting quite ruffled up when I saw children in masks. And I don't want to be doing that anymore. So I've really got to work on that part of me that is really sort of allowing people to be where they're at and not trying to wake people up. So just please, if you are awake to what's going on and you're feeling anxious, hi Nora, hi Thomas, anyone else that's been with us, somebody else that doesn't tell me all the names that are here, it really spends some time working on your third eye, working on raising your frequency, work on becoming aware, more aware of your thoughts, aware of your fears, so that you're stepping out of being in it and you're able to be the observer of it. I've got a heart circle next Sunday at 7 o'clock online. It's going to be suitable for beginners. This is exactly what we do. Because the minute I say to myself, I am frightened, then we experience a lot of discomfort in our bodies, and we need to go into the mind to look at where that thought, I am frightened, has come from. But it's not real. It's of the mind. In fact, all fear is the mind. And the whole point about this spiritual war, if you like, is that we're learning not to be in the head, but to live in the present moment, which is in the heart. And I lived most of my 20s and 30s in my head, and probably my 40s as well, actually. Gosh, am I that old? So since 50, for 10 years, I really started to learn big time how to just be in the present moment and trust. Because that's how we're going to win this war. If you are really suffering at the moment with being frightened, being anxious, just take a breath in. It's so simple. It's so simple. Just take a breath in, feet on the floor, spine straight, and just allow yourself to breathe. It really is that simple. And feel your bum on the seat beneath you. Just feel the weight of your pelvis and your bum on the surface beneath you. And breathe. And this will bring you into the present moment. So that's the starting point. Stop worrying about if you're going to be abandoning your home because you're being forced to have a vaccine, and you're running into the woods to hide, and you haven't got 1 million tins of fish and 1,000 bags of rice to survive because you think you're going to starve and die. This is all in the mind. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have some form of preparation. It doesn't mean that you maybe have 6 months worth of food just in case things go really apeshit. And at the end of the day, the shadow is going to be playing out more and more strongly because we are going through a huge shift in consciousness. The human is going through a massive shift. We are literally raising our frequencies. We're going up a dimension to the 5th dimension here on earth. It's the heaven on earth that I have dreamed of and longed of my whole life. The heaven on earth that my father used to tell me I was a crazy woman. But and some of you, the light workers here, will know deep in your hearts that you are a light worker, that you have been here before, and you will remember, you will know that you came here to be here at this time, as did everyone. So if you consider yourself not spiritual, and I've seen a lot of conversations today in a lot of freedom fighter groups, the Unvaccinated Arms, which I love that group, it's a really great group, but there's a lot of fear happening. And so maybe you could just think about, instead of putting your head into that state of worry and fear, where you're thinking about whether or not you have enough supplies, whether or not you're prepared enough, whether you've got everything ready and sorted. You know what? The truth is, you're only going to raise your frequency by going inside. You're only going to raise your frequency by going inside and getting really, really honest with who you really are. So anybody who says they're not spiritual, what they really mean is that they don't yet have the courage to meet themselves. They don't have the courage to be met fully, to be seen, to be witnessed, to be vulnerable, and allow yourself to be witnessed in all that you are. And what we do as human beings is we very, very cleverly manipulate what we're thinking, how we're feeling. We block it. What's the word? Like you turn something back at someone, like deflect. We have all sorts of ways of not being seen. We can play the parent, we can play the teacher, we can play the expert, we can play the running away and going hiding in our man cave. We can play being moany and groany, being ill, that's a great one. Using that as your defense, being ill, that's a great one. We are so clever, us humans. Incidentally, that's one reason I love teaching Pilates, because I can see exactly in somebody's body where they're cheating, where they're not meeting themselves, where they're not allowing the light in. And right now, on this planet, we are going through the dark night of the soul, the shadow, and the shadow is getting darker and darker and darker, and it has to. It's the only way that those who are going to awaken are going to awaken. It's the only way they're going to start looking at this world and saying, there's something not right here. There's something not right here. Now, you've probably been asking that for a long, long time. I know I was asking it for much of my life. But many, many people have woken up in the last 18 months, and many are continuing to wake up. But we still have the majority who are absolutely fast asleep. Or they're playing out their defences so powerfully. Like they're drinking so much, or they're getting off their head so much, or they're so involved in their third dimensional life. They cannot yet see. But the way in which we are going to shift everything, is to allow them to be, is to trust in life, is to go within and do the work. Because the more we push for something, energetically, it will always come back and bite you in the bum. We've all done it. We've done it in relationships. I certainly have. You have this little voice in your head saying to you, something isn't quite right. And yet that voice is so quiet that you don't even hear what it's saying. You kind of somewhere know it's going on. But we're so intent on this being what we think we want that we go along with it. And usually it's not until after the relationship, after the breakup, after the heartache, that you see how you were being. I know I certainly can. So when I talk about being naked, being bare, being authentic, being vulnerable, it's not easy for humans to do or to be. It's not a doing. In fact, it's absolutely not a doing. It's a state of being. When you can learn that, you're going to immediately be able to raise your frequency. Once you've tasted something and it feels good, if you're like me, you want more of it and more of it and more of it. Now that doesn't mean that we completely ignore what's going on in this war, on the third dimension. because you kind of can't ignore it. You know, you've only got to go out into the street and see children in masks and the behaviour that's going on. As I said earlier, my challenge is to not bat an eyelid at that and just literally send love and compassion. That is my feminine heart, and I've been struggling with that, and maybe you have too. But, you know, this is how we grow, this is how we expand, this is how we literally raise our frequency, is by seeing the part of us that is in defence, seeing the part of us that is just protecting our own heart, seeing the part of us that is broken, seeing the part of us that is the life and soul of the party, or the big personality, or the guru, or whatever, whoever. We are so clever at avoiding being met in our authentic self. And I'm, at the moment, being as authentic as I can. If I was face to face with a guy that I was falling in love with, and in fact in a heart circle, we say, never start dating somebody after doing a heart circling event, because you literally fall in love with everybody in that circle. You know, that is, when we meet each other eye to eye, face to face, it's us humans are not used to doing it. We're not used to doing it unless you've done some tantric or some authentic relating practices or some shamanic practices. You probably have never done it before, you know, unless you're just making love, making love with your partner, and you're kind of seeing and you're looking into their soul. But the more authentic we are with ourselves and with other people, and the more we learn how to be real and show who we are, the deeper that connection. So you only have a connection with another to the depth that you have it with yourself. And that's why this inner work, this war, this world spiritual war that we're in here on earth at the moment, that's the majority of people cannot yet see, but we know. I'm saying to you now, today, this evening where I am, maybe the morning where you are, don't feel that you've got to be doing and busy and constantly protesting and constantly giving your energy to changing what's going on out there, when some of you may actually be using that as a defense mechanism to stop you going in here. And I just want to leave that with you. We're all doing it. We're all human. We've all got really great strategies for avoiding being with ourselves. So don't be hard on yourself. Don't judge yourself, don't criticize yourself. Be really aware of how you speak to yourself. Just practice speaking to yourself like you would a baby. Giving all the love you would to you, age 2 months old. How would you speak to her? How would you speak to him? Compassion, love, not just for the tribe that you're in, but for everybody. The unjabbed, the jabbed, the maybe jabbed, the might be jabbed, the want to go on holiday jabbed. I'm speaking to myself also. We teach what we need to learn. Namaste.